tanto jugando suelto como en competición. Tanto si se trata de un rápido 9 hoyos o de un gran 36. Tanto si juegas bajo presión o arrasando, siempre das lo mejor de ti. Nuevo Fuel de FootJoy.
Rory, if we could just get an opening comment from you, obviously defending champion, but in a different venue this week. So what's that experience like for you, and how does it feel to be back at the Wells Fargo Championship?
Yeah, anytime you can defend a title, it's a nice thing to do. Obviously, my success at this tournament's been at Quill Hollow, and I'm not here. Never played here before, never seen the venue, so I played 18 holes yesterday and just played another 9 today. So as a replacement for Quill Hollow, this is a pretty nice one. Hadn't really heard much about the golf course, but from what I've seen the last couple of days, I really like it. It's a really, it's just a solid golf course. You can't really fake it around here. You got to hit the ball really well. Green complexes are tricky, pretty small targets. The rough maybe isn't up as much as they usually have it here, just because of the time of year. But overall, a really solid test, and looking forward to getting out there tomorrow.
All right, questions? If you have a question, ask into the microphone, please.
Rory, you obviously have some pretty good memories from the course across the street. I wonder if you've been back there since, and how would you reflect on that week? And does it seem really distant? Does it seem fresh? It's 11 years now.
Yeah. So I have been back. I did something for the club on the first tee there a couple of years ago. I'm actually going to go over this afternoon and take a look at because whenever I went back a couple of years ago, the blue course wasn't fully renovated. They were still in the process. So I'm going to head over, and that day a couple of years ago, they gave me honorary membership, and as a member, I think it's only right I go over and at least show my face. So I'm going to go over this afternoon, and I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, 11 years ago does seem like a long time ago. It is a distant memory. I think I've watched it back so many times, I don't really remember the experience of it. I remember more just from watching on a laptop or a TV screen. So, but it is cool. I was driving in here yesterday morning and going along whatever road that is, and I looked left, and I was like, that looks like Congressional. I'm like, oh no, that is Congressional. So good vibes from this area, obviously, and yeah, I still to this day think it's the best week of golf that I've ever played in my life. The ball was on a string that week, and you wish you could bottle that every single week that you play. Unfortunately, that's not the case, but I think that's still the benchmark of how I can play. That's as good as I could play that week.
Just real quick, is there when you do watch it back, the shot at 10, what is there a particular moment that stands out?
Not necessarily, just sort of how free flowing it was and how at ease I looked. Yeah, and just sort of how comfortable I was with everything. I was coming off the back of a tough loss at Augusta, and that was still fresh in my memory, and I think I was just so hyper-focused that week that, I knew I was playing well, and I think just the lessons of Augusta, they stayed with me the whole way throughout the week, and I didn't get ahead of myself, and mentally I was just in a really good place.
Rory, based on, it's a small sample size, but based on your time at Congressional and then a couple of days here, what's your sense of the enthusiasm for golf in this area? And a lot of fans around here would like to see the PGA Tour come back to DC on a regular basis. Is that something the players you feel would kind of be behind if that happens?
Yeah, I know it's not DC, but down the road in Baltimore last summer, the crowds there were incredible at Caves Valley. And yeah, I think this market in this area deserves a PGA Tour event every year if there can be one here. There's some phenomenal golf courses. I thought this course is very underrated just because of the golf clubs it's surrounded by. Got Congressional, Burning Tree, all the rest. But this is a very, very good golf course in its own right. So, yeah, I'd love to have a PGA Tour event in this area every year. I love playing golf in the Northeast. It's some of the my favorite style of golf courses, and if we were to come back here more regularly, I think everyone would like that.
Rory, coming off your Sunday performance at Augusta, do you now feel higher expectations or more pressure heading into the next 10 weeks that are going to define your year?
No, not necessarily. I think if anything, it gives me comfort knowing that my game is there, and no, not more expectation or pressure. I mean, I think that's always there. That's always been there. But I got a lot of confidence from that round on Sunday. I did a lot of great things, and it's something to definitely build on over the next few weeks.
And you're known as someone who has played well historically in wet conditions. Do you think that's fair, or is that kind of played out by now?
I think I've won 30 times around the world. Not all those weeks were wet and rainy, so I think I'm pretty good in most conditions.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
I hear it was a special day for you. Can you tell me what the HBCU athletes that you competed with today did for you?
Yeah, it was a wonderful pro-am. It was some. Hi guys. Thought you were supposed to be playing the 10.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's great. Not every there's a lot of Wednesdays on tour and pro-ams that aren't as fun as something like today. To be able to spend time with these guys and see what great golfers they are, but also the great people that they are as well. And I was sent all their CVs and bios last night, and just the list of things they've done and accomplished at a young age is really, really impressive. And it was really nice to spend some time with them this morning.
Was there a birthday song?
There was a happy birthday song on the first tee, which was very nice of them. But I don't know, I think a 33rd birthday isn't really much to sort of right in the middle. Like 35 maybe something, 30 something, 33 just seems sort of like, I don't know. But it was very nice of them to sing happy birthday to me.
Can I ask you guys what it was like playing with them today?
It was amazing. Super friendly, super just helpful. I'm asking him some tips for chipping, and he was willing to give them to me, so I'm going to take them back and give them to our kids when I coach them. So they're really appreciative of it.
Yeah, I would just reiterate that. It was unreal. You see these pros on TV, and you never think you get a chance to see them, meet them in person, let alone play with them. So it was an amazing experience for sure.
Rory, the conversation.
Play well on the back nine. I get the easy, and I only play 9 holes today. It's nice.
The conversation, I know, at least for the PAC and the policy board, your position has been kind of what the tour is going to do in the fall. I know there's a lot of things on the board. Personally, what would you like to see the fall schedule look like?
What I would like to see the fall schedule look like is my preference, but I guess this is the hard thing, right? You've got 200 and whatever members that you're trying to keep everyone somewhat happy. Some guys really like to play in the fall because they feel like they get a head start in the FedEx Cup. The top guys like to feel like they have time off to actually have an off season and rest and prepared for the next season coming up. And I guess it's sort of trying to find a balance of that. It's hard. It's very hard for me to stand here and say I'd like all the fall events to go away and play 3 or 4 of these suggested tournaments that they're thinking about, because that's good for me, but that's not good for the entire membership. So I have to try to look at things that are going to benefit the entire membership and the entire tour, and not just what benefits me or the top players. I think there's enough programs in place that benefit the top players right now. PIP program, the Comcast Top 10, the FedEx Cup bonus, all of those things are designed to funnel more money into the top players' pockets. You play the best, and the cream should rise to the top by the end of the year, and that's why Comcast Top 10, FedEx Cup bonus money is so high. And then you add the PIP in there for the people that make the biggest impact on the tour. So I think the top players, we've gotten a lot of things our own way the last couple of years. And I think for us to talk about just taking the fall events away for the guys that sort of need them and need those opportunities would be very, very selfish. So it's a delicate balance. It always has been on a tour and a membership that's this big, because you're trying to accommodate so many different people in so many different scenarios. So it's hard for me to sit here and say this is the way I would like the fall, because the way I would like the fall probably isn't the common consensus among the membership.
One thing that would have changed from 33 or from 22 years old to 33 would be taking questions like that, sweeping questions about the game, the state of things. You seem, as a person in your early 30s, very comfortable tackling those subjects. Did that come naturally on the way up, or have you had to learn that as one of the top players, you're going to be asked things about the state of the game?
Yeah. Like if I had been asked that question 10 years ago, I would have been like, what are you talking about? I just want to go play golf and make birdies. But I think when you get to a certain point in the game and the stature, it's, more responsibility, sort of falls onto your plate, and you have to accept that responsibility. And I feel like I'm in a unique position, especially with this tour, having grown up on the European tour and sort of seeing both sides of the coin a little bit. I think I'm in a pretty unique position to at least give my perspective on some things. So, but it is something I've had to learn. It's not something I've always been interested in, but I think it's something that is pretty important, especially where the game is right now, and making sure it's headed in the right direction.
Yep. Welcome back to Washington, Rory.
Thank you.
I was looking at the players that you played with today. I'm from D.C., and I've known those guys since they were teenagers, and actually known you since you were a teenager, too. So it's kind of interesting to see you all together. I sort of follow on the previous question. What the first tee does is sort of teach leadership along the way and how to go into that thing. And is there some sort of program like that in Ireland? If there was, would you think that would be something that would be useful or would have helped you?
There's not a program like that I know of in Ireland. There may be. I'm certainly more familiar with the First Tee program and all the great work that the First Tee does. I've been lucky enough to play with people that have come through the First Tee program, and I think more that look, they get taught golf, and that's great, but I think they're just the life lessons that can be taught through golf, and as you said, like leadership roles, mentoring the next generation coming up. That's something that to be instilled in you from such an early age in the First Tee, I think is like I when I was 18 or 20 years old, I certainly wasn't thinking about that stuff, and all of these young men and women that come through the First Tee program, it feels like they're much more prepared for the world than I was at that age. So I think they do a really good job, and I would be a really a huge advocate of the First Tee.
I just want to follow up. You re-signed with TaylorMade, and what was the process going into making that decision? Did you ever consider moving on to another manufacturer or back to a previous manufacturer? What went into your decision?
Yeah, no. So I think I've worked with those guys for 5 years, and hand on heart, they are the best. They're the best team. They're the most dedicated people in that business. And look, there's times where, and I'd never once did it cross my mind to go to another manufacturer. It may have crossed my mind to go with no manufacturer and maybe just sort of do my own thing. But at the end of the day, that presents problems as well in terms of having the paradox of choice, and there's so much stuff out there. And so just to really simplify it, and at the end of the day, TaylorMade do make, I feel, the best product in golf. I'm really happy with every single golf club in my bag. And I feel like the golf clubs that I have right now are the golf clubs that I can use for the next 3, 4, 5 years and be very, very successful with them. So, but it doesn't mean that you don't, look at other stuff or you see what else is out there. Of course, you keep an eye on things, but I'm really happy with my decision and delighted I'm staying with TaylorMade for the foreseeable future. Thank you.
El nuevo Pro SL no tiene clavos, pero tiene un agarre increíble. Con una plancha de carbono adicional para optimizar el retorno de energía y un nuevo y moderno diseño, el zapato original de máximo rendimiento sin clavos tiene algunas ventajas importantes.